Remember, I was just here a couple minutes ago doing that live hit. Hey, I'm back here. What if transforming your life was as simple as changing your mornings? Yeah, it's just called rolling over and not hitting the snooze button. How you start your day sets the tone for everything. This morning, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab, where
when something negative comes up.
Building muscle, blood flow.
Nobody is expecting, John.
If the lady's saying that, you're just
Being as a super
Be entertained by fun over here.
How have I slept? Has my sleep been good? Is that
There we go, nation. Let's get after transforming those mornings. This isn't about waking up early, baby. No. It's about waking up with intention, making those early hours work for you, and setting the foundation to crush the rest of the day. Good morning, everybody. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. The only morning show to get your day started here. I feel like I'm a little bit lost on my notes here. Listen, Jimmy, let's just get over to the hook. Let's get everybody in the stage here, man. Let's rock and roll here. Good morning, everybody. I'm a little bit lost in my notes this morning. Lots going on here. Hey, good morning, Flynn. Good morning, Johnny. Good morning, Marty. A lot of words here. A lot of words. Too many words. Too many words. Just too many words. What's going on, guys?
Noted.
What's going on? What's going on? How are you today?
Is my internet still choppy, or am I okay now?
You're like you're on the 56K baud modem, Andersen. How are you today, brother?
Well, I guess that'll do.
How are you? How's everybody today? The Thanksgiving weekend is over. We're here back on a Monday, the Monday morning loop. A new month, new loop, new times happening here, everybody. We got John Page, Dr. John Page, joining us here for Center Stage Deep Dive coming up on the show. We got somebody, guys, who's lost 48 pounds. Yeah, since he tuned into our show. True story. Jack Dugan joining us later on in the show here. The guy tuned in, Marty. Actually, when you and I are doing the show, Marty, Dr. John Page is over there. Jack Dugan joining us later on in the show. Marty finds you and I, stumbles onto our channel. He's like, oh, I like these guys. And he keeps showing up, Marty. He keeps showing up, Marty. He keeps showing up, Marty. And then we connect with the guy. And then he tells me, Marty, he's lost 48 pounds since hanging out with us.
That's nuts. 48 pounds is a
Wow.
shitload of weight.
Isn't it, Johnny? That just doesn't happen by accident, Johnny.
No, I guess the question is, well, what's the mechanism? Is it just getting up and getting moving, or is it just?
It's us, John.
I'd love to know.
Accountability.
Well, of course, but I mean, there's got to be. Is he doing some walks? There's a whole bunch of things that could be coming together. I'm curious to know what the top 2 or 3 is.
Yeah, that's a great question, Johnny. I do know that in talking with Jack along the way, what he has found, if I can speak for Jack, it's this level of accountability, John. And I don't want to oversimplify, but I know you're a big fan of simplicity. And he's like, I haven't adopted any new principles. Well, yes, he has. He's walking more. He's eating better. But most importantly, Johnny's just starting his day with us. He's consistently stacking that one habit that, let's admit, many folks struggle with, which is the consistently stacking habits. We get to 20 habits in a row, and then we got to restart again. Well, John's been doing it over and over and over. So that's been his magic, is just that his idea of just showing up daily. Johnny.
I think John froze.
I think we got a delay on Johnny. Hey, Marty, how was the weekend, brother? I saw you crushing some food here. And listen, I know every good trainer's got to crush some good grub here, but how was the loop weekend of crushing food there in Thanksgiving weekend, Marty?
Well, we talked about it on Friday. I really didn't have that much. I only had 2 plates, but
Yeah,
it just
only 2.
when you have somebody like me, when you catch a picture and put it online, they're gonna blow it up. So
Yeah.
it was just one piece of cheesecake. But I had a good weekend, man. Very, very busy, very productive.
Nice.
Got to link up with some high school friends, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I haven't seen in years, so that was pretty cool.
What'd you guys
What do you
do?
mean blow it up? They were coming after you for having cheesecake?
Yeah, oh yeah. My DM was crazy. I probably had like hundreds of messages. Yeah,
What?
it was wild. Yeah, oh yeah.
Like
Oh,
as
yeah.
if
It was
people
crazy.
people can be trainers but not have any
Yeah,
life, not have any moments of
yeah.
indulgence. It's
Yeah, if
wild.
you're a trainer, you can't have a life. Yeah, that's pretty much what the
Well,
Ridiculous.
to
it's
the
just, I
outside
mean,
world. That's what it is.
it's even more basic than that. It doesn't make it difference what the fuck you are. If you're doing something a little bit
That's true.
better than the average, they're looking for anything they can do to throw a turd at you. So
It's
Marty,
crazy.
yes, he's a trainer, and yes, he's extraordinary, and yes, they love to find anything they can do. But shit, that's the
Crazy.
world. It just gets better and better, Mark. You got to realize, embrace that shit. The more they do
Oh,
it,
I love it.
the more they do it, that just shows you how much you're separating yourself.
That's right. Good morning,
If
Amir.
they're talking smack,
Go ahead, Marty.
if they're talking smack,
If they're talking smack, you know you're on
come on, man.
You're on
There
the
you
right.
have it, baby. There you have it, baby.
Exactly. Flinner, how was the weekend for you? I know Ontario got a little bit of snow this weekend, did it not?
Oh man, you would die laughing at the snow that we got in Toronto. It was like somebody outside your window with some
Baby snow.
flour. It was not at all what you would call snow. But it was fun. I got the kids on ice skates for the first time this weekend, which was awesome. We went to play against sports and we got them all geared up. Bank the end. It was their first time ever on the ice, and that was really, really cool to watch. And then I had some time with my family. We went to go get our Christmas trees yesterday with my two sisters and my parents and all the kids. And then we hung out and just chilled and ate some food. And that was it. And I found out when I was going to die.
Yes. Yeah. Next Monday, Late Nation, we are going to lean into the topic of, I know when I'm going to die too. Yeah, I know I'm going to die. Flynn knows when she's going to die. Maybe by then Marty and John might know when they're going to die. But next Monday, next week, we're going to get into a week of longevity. So this week's about transformations. Next week's going to be longevity. I dropped something in the feed to my friends yesterday. I said, hey, I know I'm going to die. And then
Death clock. Check it out.
Hey, man,
those statistics are for the everyday man. So you can't. It doesn't work on me.
Actually, no. With all respect, Johnny, no. So this one's a little bit different. This app has dug into a lot of extraneous research. So I did a little bit of digging on the app itself, and it did a little bit of it. So it's done a little bit, not done a little. It's done extensive research on a number of different studies, and put that research together, powered by AI. So it's it's maybe it's a little bit carnival-ish, but I would like to say that underpinning it all perhaps had a lot more value than we might recognize. And I did something similar with something called Inside Tracker. Good morning, JJ. I see you there. Good morning. How are you? Good morning to see you here. Mornings in live with Keith and friends. I invite you to
Can I
subscribe.
be transparent, man?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about death. Like I just, I love my life, man. That makes me feel some type of way. So I'm gonna be honest with y'all.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, Marty. And I'm really glad you did, because I can relate to that. And what I mean by that is I can relate to that based on maybe when I was your age. It's like I didn't want to talk about it. However, maybe there's a way that we can talk about it next week, which doesn't make it so freaky. Because Marty, I had some of those same feelings yesterday myself. True story. I did. Honest to God.
Let's not assume. Does it make you feel freaky, or is it scare you? Does it worry you? What are those feelings?
I don't know. It's just uncomfortable. It's just I'm big on living the best I can, trying to squeeze every ounce of juice out of this life that we can.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to think about it. Does that make sense?
No,
I know it's going to
fair.
happen. I know it's inevitable. Let's be real. But am I right, John? Do you feel me?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can take whatever research you want. Research is done on, basically specimens that have allowed research to be done on them. I'm not one of them. So this app can say whatever the fuck it wants, but it doesn't apply to me. I've been running fucking wide open, right in fucking death's face my whole fucking life, and I love every second of it. And half of the fucking battle is keeping the throttle pegged and keeping this fucking baby the way it should. So I don't know. I just look at death differently. It's like when I get there, whenever it comes, I just want to know that I did everything to the fullest and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter at that point.
I'll say this too. The only thing about death that excites me is when if I'm scared to do something, be like, oh, you're gonna die one day. You better stop being a bitch.
Yeah, it's a different kind of motivation.
That I'll say that. Then it motivates me there. Let's just go from Long Beach to Catalina Island.
Well, that's perfect. That's a great one, Marty.
And
that's good shit because that's exactly what I'm talking about, Marty. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm chopping up. I couldn't hear you talking.
Good.
Sorry.
Now, I'm about to say, I'm very scared to do skydiving, and I'm that's part of the reason why I'm gonna do it one day. But I'm scared.
Exactly.
I'm going to shit my pants when I do it, though.
But I mean, that's all of us doing something that's scary. I think for me, it's like when I saw those results, the results are kind of less of the, and I don't like using motivation, but reminders, right? So I'm looking at that and I'm going, all right, this is where I'm at right now. I know there's a lot of things I could do to just call it out. Like I got a lot of shit that I got to work on. I got a lot of work I need to do. I'm looking at Keith, and Keith's going to die 4 years before me, but he's 12 years older. Well, what the fuck? Like, and sometimes you just need that one thing to like smack you across the face and be like, what you doing? Like, are you going to use this or are you not going to use this? And for me, that's all it's been.
Yeah.
So it's pros and cons.
Yeah, and you know what, Flynn? I think you're bang on with what you said here, because I think what I found, Marty and Johnny, with just the meager exercise of just setting up that experience yesterday. You answered a number of questions. You know what it does? Most importantly, it creates awareness in your head. That's what it does, and that's all that it really does. Because it asks you questions like, "So, have you been to the doctor for your checkup lately?" Not really. Oh, okay, well, you might want to do that. Have you been cancer screened lately? No, not really. Right. So it's kind of like Marty, it creates that awareness of, well, maybe I need to consider some of these things. Right. So, and that's more for me what it did. Did it freak me out? No, because I know I'm going to die. But I'll tell you, man, 52 compared to 31 or 41. It's just incredible how your brain thinks a little differently about death and about life and so forth. But listen, we'll get into that more next. We'll get more into that next week about longevity and so forth. First, one thing I can say, Marty, is at your age, I was afraid to die. At this age, I'm not afraid to die anymore. Like, I'm just not. I don't know. It's just, and I think
There we go. That's an interesting point right there too, brother. Because it's like I'm living my life now in a way where I'm not going to look back and go, "Fuck, I wish I did." Coulda, shoulda, woulda. If it happens, it happens. I don't feel like I'm leaving stones unturned. And so all this shit is just a distraction to me. If I'm not focused on what I want to do and I'm focused on this dumb shit, forgive my French, then it's just taking me one step further away from where I want to go, because I guess that's more of the.
But I think, but what it does though, Johnny, Kristina, and Marty, is that we have a show about motivation, we have a show about accountability, we have a show about how people achieve their biggest goals. There's something fun about it. There's something enlightening about it. And there's something conversational about it, because it affects every single human here. And, we got Jack Dugan hanging out in the green room there. He's probably thinking to himself, okay, because here's the thing, right? He loses 48 pounds. He's probably living longer, right? And that's just facts, right? So he doesn't lose 48 pounds. He's probably not living as long. So just these little things that hopefully motivate us to keep moving forward here. But all right, let's keep going into it.
And I agree with that. Brother. I'm just saying I think for the average person, this would be a massive motivator. Yeah. For me, I feel like I've already checked these boxes.
No, but hey, Johnny, but you're right. And me too. Right. So did my habits change? No. That's interesting though. So did my habits change after I did that test yesterday? No. But what it did for me is it created some awareness about things. I'm like, all right, just some awareness. But listen, we'll keep that conversation going next week around longevity. And we're gonna have that conversation next week in the live longevity. But listen, we're gonna keep the conversation going this morning on transforming your mornings. Listen, it's just not about waking up earlier. It's about waking up with intention. That big word, intention, right? Making those early hours work for you and setting the foundation to crushing the rest of the day. Johnny, last week, 2 weeks ago, Marcus Newcomb came in and said, "Hey, dude, I do some meditation, and you've been counting your days in. You say you sit down, you start counting. I'm curious, brother. How is your morning meditation routine? I know you traveled last week. How's that going since we sat down with Marcus a couple weeks ago? And has it changed your mornings? Are you still leaning into it, or is it a practice you continue working at, Johnny?"
No, it's definitely when I travel, things are always a little different.
I know.
But I embrace that different, because that way, when I get back into my groove, there's always a little newness. There's always a little fun. So that to me, I embrace that. But when I'm like, when I got home, I actually didn't say when I got home, before I left and when I got home, I've been stretching that shit out. It's pretty easy for me to get 20 plus is a fucking piece of cake now.
Oh, I love that. Is that right? Eh? Yeah. Tell me why. Like
well, it's like the whole thing of, when you get exposed to something that you've never been exposed, you hear about this shit all the time.
Yes.
But then when you get a chance to talk to somebody and interact a little bit, it just made it for something about that day made me think, you know what, I'm not giving my all on this.
I love that.
I don't like that. When I feel like I'm not giving my all, goes right back to that whole death conversation.
Yeah.
My life was surrounded with I'm not giving it my all. Maybe I need to know when I'm going to die because then I'll start giving my all. But it was just like, there's something about the conversation that kind of clicked. And I'm competitive. When he says he's doing an hour to 3 hours every day, I'm like, Jesus Christ, no disrespect to him. But I think for any person, if that motherfucker's doing that, I got to step my shit up.
Well, that's why I'm leading into your conversation right now, because I can see your competitive nature come out. You're like, fuck that, man. I'm meditating for 20 minutes.
Okay.
I'm doing it.
God damn it. Let's go. You know, and I'm very certain. I'm very certain I could do it for an hour now. If I need to get the time, because one thing I'm not good at,
John,
is I need to make sure that I have the block of time available.
Yeah.
You know, if I don't have the block of time available, I can count to 1 billion. I'm not getting in there. You know,
it's not going to happen by accident.
Marty, we're going to create a trophy. The best meditator on the planet. We're going to give it to John Anderson.
Let's do it.
Even though meditation is derived as a practice, John's like, fuck it, I'm winning. I'm going to be the best meditator on the entire planet. The thing was, man, bodybuilder to fucking the best meditator ever.
Well, you know, the thing about it is there's no right way. Right.
Exactly.
The right way is to get better every day. And I realized after talking to him, I wasn't getting better every day.
Oh,
that was the switch. It's like, fuck, I got in this really easy, happy little spot, and I'm not giving myself the ability to stretch. I'm not fucking forcing myself to get outside my comfort zone. And so that's all it was. And I've been practicing. This summarizes me. I practice so much on a thing. Then when I decide to make that thing bigger, it's so much easier because I put in the reps. Maybe they're short reps, but the reps are there. And the
reps are reps.
Yeah. Well, I love this because we're always talking to our audience about encouraging our audience to accept and try things. And there's Johnny there just leaning into this idea of practice. It's like, I got to get fucking good at this. Right. And we often hear you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, we actually can teach an old dog new tricks, and it's called John Anderson on learning how to meditate. Yeah,
oh, brother.
I agree.
You know, that one of my favorite things is when I'm wrong, because that means somebody's going to teach me something.
Oh, I love that, brother. And that goes back to age too, pal. That goes back to age because it's like, yeah, fuck it. I don't mind learning new shit at 50. Right?
So usually it's going to be some good shit because we've learned enough at this point. When we are wrong, it's really some good shit because we got all the dumb shit out of the way in our 20s, 30s, and 40s.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. All right, Dr. John Page is hanging out for us in the green room. Jimmy, let's get the crew off stage. Johnny's going to go for a break. Marty's going to go for a break. Flynn's going to go for a break. And we're going to do the accountability check-in. Yeah. After I clear my throat, you guys. All right, next week's longevity, this week's transformation. And we want you to join us. Today, we're focusing on how I transform my mornings. So what's one thing you're doing to shift your mornings for the better? All right. Yeah. I think I'm a little bit, okay, listen, let's just, Jimmy, let's keep going here, man. Let's keep the show rock and rolling here. I got a little bit confused with my notes here. We're going to go here. We're going to go back to the screen here. We're going to bring in everybody else here on the show. We're going to do a revamp here on the script here. All right. So joining us today is our friend, Dr. John Page. Yes, he is. There he is. What's up, Page?
Hey, good morning, y'all. Good to be with y'all.
Good to see you.
All right.
What's going on, Dr. John?
I'm doing great. This is lovely to get to hear y'all warm up before I get here, get into the vibe.
Yes. So you are a man who has made a mission to help people figure out the tough stuff without the dogma. We got Dr. John Page joining us here. Johnny, where are you joining us from today, brother?
I'm in North Georgia right now. It's very, very cold. We don't have snow, but it's
talk about
freezing cold out here.
Don't talk about the cold. How cold is it today, John Page?
It's 28 degrees when I woke up.
Marty, can you convert that to my Canadian Celsiusness?
I got you, man. Give me a second.
But Marty, the resident Canadian here, who's doing our Canadian conversions here. But Johnny, well, Marty's doing that. We got the big morning question we like to ask everybody.
Negative 2 Celsius.
How does that feel? How does that feel, Marty? Does that feel cold to you?
That's cold. It's not the coldest, but it's cold.
Johnny, Dr. John Page, we like to ask somebody this question every single time they're on the show. What is, Dr. John Page, what is your morning routine? What was your morning routine this morning? What time did the alarm get up? Did you roll over, hit the snooze button? Did you get out of bed, get going? Did you kiss your wife? Did you go and walk the dogs? Did you work out? Did you take care of the morning? What did you do, Johnny?
Yeah, I did all that. Of course, I did all that, Keith.
Nice.
Of course, I did. No, I don't wake up to an alarm. I just wake up. When I wake up. My body's ready to go. Got up, went to the gym, did all my routine. Came home, ate a good healthy breakfast. Did a couple extra push-ups to give me some extra energy here for the show.
Yes.
I got my mood lighting because
Yes.
I'm aspiring to be John Andersen, so he's setting a standard. So I got my mood light on. We're good to go. But I did my morning meditation routine. I don't meditate for how long are you doing it, John?
I've been moving it up to like my non-negotiable is 5 minutes, but I've been moving it up to 20. I'm going to keep pushing the envelope. I'm going to get up to 30. I'm just going to keep working. It's a great journey, man. It's like you get in there. It's just, I don't know. It's something's changed. And I'm really enjoying pursuing that change. It's new. You know what I mean? When you're in new territory, that's what life's all about.
Oh yeah. I've got myself up to 2 minutes, which for me is a big thing because I get distracted in 10, 20 seconds. But like you said,
Same.
Transformation, it occurs step by step, minute by minute, 10 seconds at a time, onward and upward. But if we're not transforming, if we're not learning, I heard y'all talking about learning when we're older. If we're not learning, we're losing, right?
I just want to be clear.
It helps me with the meditation, brother. It's might help you too. I don't know. Give it a try. Basically, what I do is I count. I sit down. I 1 in, 2 out, and I just count. And if I'm still getting distracted, what I'll do is I'll picture almost like a movie screen where the numbers coming in, and so I'm able to like just focus on the number, whether it's an audio, a visual, and pretty soon that thing that keeps taking my thoughts everywhere, slows down. So I don't know if that'll work for you, but it's been huge for me.
Hey, I'll take tips from everywhere. I always like to learn more.
So when you guys are talking 2 minute extension, I'm glad we're talking meditation and not sex. If you're talking 2 minutes and we're on the wrong conversation here, Johnny. So.
Here we go, man.
Well, that has to do with longevity, Keith. That's next week, bud.
That's exactly. So we're going to extend 2 minutes to 4 next week. John Andersen is going to meditate himself past the 2 minutes. But Dr. John Page, your work is fascinating. I love the work that you do. What does spiritual guidance without the church look like, and why is this the approach needed for folks that are looking to transform their lives? Dr. John Page.
I just see it as spiritual is it has to do with energy. I mean, if you think about God or the universe or some outside force, it's about energy. You call it whatever you want. But if we can connect with this energy that's higher than us, that's deeper than us, that's beyond us, we can get connected into something that can pull us through the tough times. It can pull us through struggles that we don't want to face. If we can connect with this energy, this higher, deeper, beyond us kind of force, then we have to ask ourselves questions we don't want to be asked, right? And so I call that spiritual coaching, spiritual advising, because it's about connecting with that which is beyond us. I mean, we're talking about transformation. Marty, like working out. If I'm working out with a weight, there's some resistance there, right? That's how you're going to build muscle. That's how you're going to get some strength, right? If we're not dealing with something that's resistant to us, for this struggle with us, we're not going to grow. Well, that kind of growth is spiritual because it's inside us, but it's also beyond us. And so I just help people connect with that which is beyond them. That's how I do it.
Love that. So Johnny, you mentioned that a lot of people are tired of trying to measure up to expectations that don't fit them. Dr. Page, what part do you think that morning transformations play in helping your clients reframe perspective and find clarity? And John, do you believe that mornings are a critical component to those internal and external transformations? And Will Ray, I see you there as he's calling you out. It looks like it's a level clock in the Dr. John Page world right now. But Doctor, do you believe that mornings are a critical component?
I think they are. I mean, it starts the day. Even if you're a night owl, you're going to have a start to your day. Even if your start to your day is 11 a.m., there's a start to your day, right? So,
Yes.
whether you want to think about mornings as 6 a.m. or at 12 noon, it's the start of your day. So how you start your day, whatever that is, and for a lot of people, that's early morning. They get going, it's jump on the day, that kind of thing. That works for you, cool. But how you start your day determines how the rest of your day is going to be. From that first 10, 15, 20 seconds you're awake, you can decide whether you're going to have a good day or whether you're going to have a shitty day. If you wake up and say, I'm going to have a good day today, you don't even know what's going to happen yet. You haven't even gotten out of your bed yet. But if you start your day with, I'm going to have a good day, today is good things are going to happen, then that sets your mind in a way where you look at events that happen to you in a different framework. So how you start your day determines your whole day.
Yeah, I so agree with that. And I also agree with the timeline too, because, for me personally, I shifted everything early to get up early because I knew there was that period of time where no one was awake, that was my time.
Yeah.
And then it worked perfectly with kids because I still had my time before they're awake. But for a different person in a different world in a different setting, maybe his time when no one messes with him is between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Who knows? So it's what I believe the morning or the start of your day is about having that time for yourself. Because I'll tell you right now, and so many people, so many really good leaders and wise people have said this, the most important work a man does is on himself.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. We get pulled so many different ways, whether it's children or work or spouse or responsibilities or doing whatever it is you do. If you don't have time for yourself, and I'm not talking just about self-care, but to build into yourself so that you can be the best you that you can be. And that looks different, right, for every person. Sometimes it's a workout, sometimes it's meditation, sometimes it's study, whatever it is that's going to make you the best you. You've got to get that in early, whatever that looks like, or you will not be 100% you. You're going to be pulled in 800 different directions. And at the end of the day, you're going to feel shame and guilt because you didn't count on yourself. You didn't invest in yourself. And that's very, very key.
Dr. Page, what's the biggest obstacle that men you speak with have when it comes to attacking their days in the morning? Is it the night before? Is it habits they can't get out of? I know guys walk up to you saying, Johnny, but I want to do this. Dr. Page, but I don't know how, or I'm stuck, or I can't get up, or there's always a reason. Dr. Page, what in your experience working with your clients, working with folks within your circle, what's that reason? Purpose?
Some of it's purpose, some of it's meaning, some of it's just bad planning. I mean, it's very practical. Before you go to bed, decide the one or two things that you want to do the next day, write them down, put them on a sticky note, put it on your mirror, put it by your bed. So when you go to bed, you're already deciding what you want to do the next day. I mean, the old thing of, well, if I want to go to the gym, then put your workout clothes right by the bed so you trip over them before you get up, right? You've got a plan for your purpose. If you don't know what your purpose is, then you can't develop a plan to fulfill your purpose. So what I help people do is think about what it is you want your legacy to be. And Marty, sorry, that's going to get into a little bit of death stuff, but your legacy happens after you die. Well, if you want a good legacy, you got to know what your purpose is. And if you don't know what your purpose is each day, to be a good husband, to be a good father, to be a good person, to be a good worker, whatever it is, you've got to know that. Or Keith, you can come up with 800 different plans. You can use this app, that app, whatever you want. But if you don't know what your purpose is, there is no amount of steps or anything else that will get you there. You have to know that inside yourself. You've got to nail that down. And that's what I help people do, asking them several questions and get them to that purpose. Once they have their purpose, nothing can get in their way.
Oh, I love that. So let's do this. Let's continue the conversation on finding clarity and purpose with Dr. John Page in about 90 seconds. But before we do that, Christopher Martin, a.k.a. C. Marty Fit, the greatest fitness trainer this side of Maryland, got a fit tip for you guys. And then we're going to come back and dig into purpose, dig into finding that clarity around your purpose to get you guys out of bed and achieve those big morning goals. Marty, you're up, brother.
All right, let's get it, man. All right, we got the fitness tip for today. We want to talk about flexibility. And this is probably the most slept on part of fitness. And Unfortunately, I got to hammer it down a lot of my clients' heads, and I got to hammer it down my head as well, because we focus on the workout, we focus on getting the gains, on getting the flat stomach, the six pack, but stretching is a big part of it. This is the foundation of our strength. And so many people, they jump straight into muscle building, and they don't realize that stiff, tight muscles is going to limit your potential, it's going to limit your growth, and it's going to increase your risk of injury. So preventing injuries, flexible muscles handle the strain of lifting better. You can get better range of motion. You'll be less sore. It's just going to change your life. All right. This can actually boost your strength if you stretch on the regular. All right. A limber body activates more muscle fibers and more max gains. It's also going to improve your longevity. Stay mobile, strong, and independent for life. Right. And we always talk about how our fitness declines faster as we get older. Stretching, mobility, and yoga is going to stop that decline from going so fast, all right? So a strong body needs a solid foundation. Stretching is it. So work on touching your toes, stretch your groin, your quads, glutes, calf muscles, stretch your upper body, chest, shoulders, everything, all right? And watch your fitness go to the next level. That's the fitness tip for today.
Christopher Martin, a.k.a. C. Marty Fit, dropping you tip fitness advice to get your day going here. We're hanging out with Dr. John Page, John Andersen, C. Marty Fit, and myself, Keith Bilous. Here. We're talking finding clarity and purpose through morning habits. We're all about transforming your mornings. Because listen, success happens starting the night before and getting in through your mornings. But Dr. John Page here. Let's keep going. Let's keep the conversation going here. You've had an incredible transformation yourself from a guaranteed income as a pastor to the unknown of coaching and spiritual guidance. What led you to make that leap? There's somebody right now who's going, I want to go on my own, but I love the guaranteed paycheck. Oh, I want to go on my own, but I don't know how to do it. Oh, I want to go on my own, but I don't know what my purpose is. Dr. Page, what led you to make that leap? And how has transforming your mornings, Dr. Page, played a role in your success?
When I made the decision, I really had no other option. I just took the leap. I took the action. That probably wasn't the greatest example, honestly. It probably would be better to have some sort of a plan of knowing where you're going or where my income was going to be. I didn't have any of that. I don't know if that's a good example or a bad example, but I just took the action. And taking the action to leave that guaranteed income, guaranteed benefits, guaranteed job. I could have ridden that train all the way to retirement. It was easy. It was comfortable. But when I took the action, I made the decision, I'm leaving, I'm getting out of this. A whole new world opened up for me. Possibilities that I hadn't thought of, options I hadn't considered. So taking the action puts me into a new moment. And so I just leaned into that. There were some tough times. I was wondering how we're going to pay our mortgage. You know, it was 3 months. I didn't have a job. I was sending out applications everywhere, any kind of job at all, just get some cash flow. But once I did that, I think the universe responded to that. I think God responded to that and said, all right, here you go. You stepped out to leave what you had, to get uncomfortable. And when you got uncomfortable, you were able to grow. And so if you're like that, if you're in a job you hate, you're not in alignment with your purpose. You're not in alignment with what is meaningful to you. You're going to have clarity. So by leaving what I thought was for sure, I got great clarity.
You said once I did that. What was once I did that? Was it the next day when you got a paycheck from somebody who wasn't your employer? Was it just recognizing that you could do that? But that's a big statement. Once I did that. What was that? You said fuck it to what was yesterday into something else. But, lean into that statement for me. Once I did that, what did you accomplish once you did that, Dr. John Page?
Once I preached my last sermon, I left the parking lot. I had immediate peace because I knew I was leaving that which I could not do anymore. I didn't know why exactly, but I knew that I was leaving what was not for me anymore. And so that was a moment when I knew I had made the right decision. Did I know what was happening the next day? No, I did not. I did not. There was some tension and some turmoil for about 4 months. But that tension was good because that tension kept pulling me and pushing me to where I needed to get to. There was some formation going on during that struggle time. But that's how I knew. When I left, I knew it was the right decision. I knew it in my gut. I knew it in my mind. I knew it in my spirit.
Oh, I love that, Adam. I see you there, and I see you there. Good time as well, and I see you. I see you there, Rick Clody, in the comments here. Let's keep this chat going here. Dr. Page, I'm intrigued by, so you're in the journey. You've made the decision. You're on your own, and you're talking about describing the tension. Right? It's Tuesday. It's Thursday. Like, oh my God, I haven't collected a paycheck. I'm on my own. I got to pay the mortgage, and you're going. But yeah, deep down, it's the right thing.
Yeah.
Keep going on that, Dr. Page. Keep describing that. Keep describing that tension. I know we got Will Ray here listening, who himself says, I got to go and do my own thing. And those of us that are doing our own thing, it's difficult to describe that tension, even though we know it's the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, the tension was, one, I knew I'd made the right decision, so that gave me a lot of strength to keep going each day, to get up and go through what I needed to get through. Do the things, send the applications, keep learning, keep exploring. And I knew as long as I stayed on the journey, as long as I kept in movement, I would get there. It was a journey without a map, right? But I knew literally one step in front of the other, I would get there sooner or later. Part of that was just my own faith and belief that I believe this was going to work out. There's no way I would have taken this step just to fall and plummet to earth, right? It was going to work out. I don't know how else to explain it. It took longer than I wanted, quite frankly.
It always
there were
does.
Some sleepless nights in there.
Yeah.
But the timing was perfect. I don't know how else to explain it. When it happened right at the right time. And in that, it's just a matter of you got to keep going. And it's hard not to give up when you don't see any progress, when you don't see any action moving that you can see. But internally, again, that spiritual force, that spiritual action, that's what's beyond me. I just knew it was going to work out.
Yeah.
That was because I knew my purpose. I knew my purpose was at work here. I was going to help people in a different way, freed and untethered from all the nonsense. And I just knew it was going to work.
Talk about time. We often think things are going to happen much quicker, right? But yet when we're in the middle of a transition, it takes much longer than we originally anticipate. Yep. Talk about that, Dr. Page.
Yeah, I mean, I had a deadline of, I left Memorial Day. And so by Labor Day, it was an artificial deadline, right?
Yeah.
Memorial Day to Labor Day. I set that up. I said that was my deadline. Well, it went beyond that deadline. So part of it is expectation. If I had put an expectation of, wow, I left Memorial Day, I've got to have a job by July 4th. That's an artificial expectation. It's an artificial timeline to be put on it.
Yeah.
Now there's some common sense. There's some common sense to it of how long do I need to go before our savings runs out or that kind of thing. That's common sense and practical. But by putting an artificial deadline on it, we set ourselves up for failure. And I have yet, and I'm kidding you. I'm not kidding you. Actually, sorry, I'm not kidding you. I have never seen a timeline work out for people the way they expect it to. It is always in a different time than they wanted.
This is fascinating to me because I was having some conversations a couple weeks ago about the way that Elon leads and the way that Elon puts timelines in place. Like, oh yeah, we're all going to have full self-driving cars in a year from now. And we're like, oh yeah, fuck, you're going to have for 10 years from now. But yet he sets timelines in place, Paige, to move humans further ahead than they believe they can. Because we as humans, and John Anderson's the best example of this, most humans think they can do this, when actually we can actually do this, but we just don't know how to get from here to here. But yet we have to set these expectations that allow us to come at things that we don't think we can achieve. So talk about this idea of an artificial deadline, reality, and what happens in the middle of that. You follow me?
Yeah, I mean, the artificial deadline is, I want this to happen so that I can experience the less pain as possible. I want this to happen in time so that I don't have to struggle as much or as hard or as long. And so we put an artificial deadline on that, right? So that I would still feel comfortable. I wanted this in place by Labor Day so I could feel comfortable and not have to super stress about something. But the reality of transformation, though, is it's a change of form. There's a lot of struggle, there's tension. All of this is going on. That's not going to happen in the middle of comfortable. It's going to happen in the middle of stretching. It's going to happen in the middle of going longer than you wanted to. It's going to happen when you extend yourself beyond what you think you could do. We only ever grow when we are challenged. Every time, whether it was in school, whether physically, mentally, spiritually, relationally. I mean, if you're in a relationship, you're going to grow because the other person has challenged you to not be such a putz, to grow up, whatever it may be. We grow when we're challenged. And so things like audacious goals and that kind of thing, that's never going to happen. It may not, but we're going to make a major amount of progress by taking the steps to get to it, for sure.
Yeah. Dr. Page, you've worked with over 1,100 people. Not 1,200 or 1,300, only 1,100 people, Dr. Page. What have you found is the key, the one key to helping someone make lasting change? True, long-standing transformation. One thing, Dr. Page, the consistent answer that you've seen come from those 1,100 people.
I tell them this: I can't want this more than you want it. I can't change you. Only you can change yourself. If you don't want to change, I can't do it for you. No program, no book, no podcast, nothing is going to change you except yourself. If you want to change, I can help you, but I can't do it for you. That's the one key I've told all 1,103 people, Keith.
And I got to think, Andersen, you're the same way. Marty, you're the same way, right? Because you're coaching humans daily. People are knocking on your door, Marty, going, I want to lose some weight. Or somebody's coming to Johnny saying, I need to learn some new habits. And I got to think that you can provide every bit of experience, instructions, guidance, inspiration, whatever you want to call it. But if Keith Bilous does not want it bad enough, it just doesn't work, does it, gentlemen, at the end of the day?
No, it's not going to work. And you got to look at this. How I look at it: comfort is a killer, right? Yep. You kill yourself staying too comfortable. And I look at any time I've leveled up in my life, it was right after I was in an uncomfortable situation. And then I look at people who I don't want to be like, and I tell myself, oh yeah, they got comfortable. He got the dad bod. He's uncomfortable. He hates he's comfortable. He hates his job. He's comfortable. He won't do anything about it. So that, and I look at the people who I want to be like, they went through that phase of being uncomfortable, like John Andersen being the fat kid, he always talks about it. We laugh about it, but it's the truth. He was uncomfortable as the fat kid and he did something about it. So that's just my perspective on it. Yeah,
I think you're right. Andersen.
I'm sorry, broke up. Say again, Keith.
Guys come to you left and right going, I want to lose weight. I want to achieve these big goals. And you've had men that have maybe not achieved those goals, Johnny. At the end of the day, you can't do it for them, right? It's got to be up to the human being that's going to do it themselves.
Yeah, the way I look at it is I have to almost kind of trick them out of the gate because they don't believe. And as soon as I trick them to make those first couple of steps and I show them that they can, then they start to believe. And once they believe, they can't achieve, because as I say it all the time, the man who believes he can and the man who believes he cannot are both correct. Which one are you?
Yeah, exactly. I got Rick Clody coming here with a comment, which I think is really relevant here, especially Dr. John Page. It wasn't until I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. How many times have you guys heard that, Andersen, Marty? Dr. Page?
All the time.
Some guy comes to you, I'm just sick and tired of looking in the mirror being fat. Or I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's the trigger. Is that the most common trigger for gentlemen, would you say? For us men?
The saying for that is the pain of
Let's see if you can get it, baby. Get it. Let's see if you got it. Come on.
The pain of comfort has to be more than the pain of growth. I don't know if that's the exact. Is that it, Johnny?
The pain of reality. Once the pain of reality exceeds the pain of change, you'll make the change.
See, something like that. I said the same thing.
Yeah, you did. Somehow, listen, I twist my tongue up on that son of a bitch all the time. You were on the money.
Dr. Page, as we wrap up our chat with you today, brother, I really enjoy hanging out with you here in the lab. What's one thing you'd leave for somebody who's tuning in right now that maybe we haven't touched upon, that's struggling with transformation, that is looking to transform their day, starting with the mornings? What's one nugget, Dr. Page, you'd leave for somebody right now today?
Do you want to have a better day than yesterday? If you do, then you're going to take the step toward transformation. And all it takes is one step. Like John said, take an easy win. You get an easy win. You start believing. Then you're on the journey to transformation. Do you want today to be better than yesterday? Do you want this moment to be better than the moment 5 seconds ago? If your answer is yes to any of that, you'll do what you need to do to transform.
But is it as simple as that, Paige? Is it as simple as that? Honestly.
I think so. I think when you make a decision to say, I want to be different than I am right now, then you'll do what you need to do. You may need to get some help. You may need to get some coaching, some advice. But if you make a decision, I want to be different than I am right now, I will do what I need to do. Because once you get that one win, that builds into another win, to another step, to another step, to another action. But it has to start with that person saying, I want what is different. I want it. If they can say that, they can get there.
And Dr. Page, what are you saying to that guy who's scared of failing? Because there's somebody listening right now going, I can't do it. I hear Paige, I hear Andersen, I hear Marty, I hear Bilous spewing all that rubbish, but I can't do it. I just can't. I'm going to roll over and hit the snooze button right now, Paige.
Yeah, no, the fear is real.
Yes.
It's a real thing. But beyond that fear, there's something you got to get a hold of, because that fear is telling you this is something that's worthy. If you're afraid of doing it, then that tells you automatically that's something that's needed. It's something that you need in your life, because we don't fear that which is wanted. We fear that which we don't want to engage in. But if we fear it, if we feel that fear welling up within us, I can't do it, I don't want to do it, I'm afraid of, then you've got to face it up. But let that fear be a clue to you, a cue that you need to press in. Use the fear for you, in other words.
That in itself is powerful, because if you're feeling that emotion of fear, what you're saying, Dr. Page, is that you're on the right track. If you're not scared, you're not on the right track, because you're not.
Yeah, if I'm comfortable, I'm not afraid of anything. What do I have to be afraid of? Everything's fine. I'm comfortable. Everything's working fine. There's no tension. There's no struggle. But when there's tension, there's struggle. There's going to be some fear, because it's an unknown. I was terrified when I said I'm leaving guaranteed income. Absolute fear. Like, what the hell am I going to do now?
Yeah.
But it also was a cue to me that was the exact right choice to make, as scary as it was.
Awesome. Dr. Page, I appreciate joining us here today. We celebrated you a number of weeks back in the Creator Spotlight. You hung out with us. I said, hey, why don't you come back to do it again? You come spend 30 minutes with us today talking about transformation, talking about getting guys moving, talking about this idea, the fear that somebody's feeling right now about accepting transformation. If you're feeling that fear right now, gentlemen, it's a good fear to have. Dr. Page, where can Business Athlete Nation connect with you? Where can they find you? And where can they learn from you, Dr. Page?
I'm on LinkedIn, so that's the place to find me. Dr. John Page on LinkedIn, that's where it is. I'm not on the rest of it, so good luck with that, but you'll find me on LinkedIn. Happy to help.
Awesome.
Happy to be with y'all. Good times this morning.
Awesome.
Thank you, Dr. John.
Dr. John Page, Mornings in Live with Keith and Friends. You'll find him on LinkedIn. Connect to Dr. John Page. Connect through myself, and you'll find him on LinkedIn. He's a friend of the lab here. We'll get him back for regular appearances. You come back and hang out with us again, hey, brother?
Absolutely. Would love to.
Awesome. Always enjoy your feedback. Always enjoy the information and great advice you provide up here for our audience. We're going to get Paige out of here. We're going to get Marty out of here. We're going to put Johnny on stage for the lifestyle tip. And then we got Jory Jansen coming in to talk about restarting. Last week, we talked about what you're going to eat over the weekend. Now it's like, okay, I'm all full. Now, do I starve for the rest of the week? No. Coming up, Jory Jansen in a moment. Johnny, you're up, brother.
All right. Most people won't tell you this, but I'm going to tell you right now. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they surround themselves with people who have limiting beliefs. They believe things are very difficult. They use phrases like, I can't. They are not honest with themselves or even you. You need to be surrounded by people who are going to be honest. They're going to tell you when you're fucking up, who are going to tell you when it's time to take a step forward and level up. So be very careful with who you surround yourself with, who you listen to, because the bottom line is this. Yes, you can. You believe you can't only because the dumb bastards around you believe they can't. Only believe that things are difficult. They only believe that things are not going to be the way they want them to be because of those limiting beliefs. So again, be careful with who you surround yourself with. Be careful who you listen to, because the man who believes he can and the man who believes he cannot are both correct. The question you got to ask yourself is, which one are you? Rock and roll.
Which one are you? The man who believes you can or the man who believes you can't? And as you roll over this morning, Johnny, what are they going to do? You're going to hit the snooze button and you're going to be 9 minutes behind? Or are you going to get up and get going? Because if you do hit the snooze button and the guy who doesn't, you're 9 minutes behind that guy. You do it 7 times this week, you're 63 minutes behind that guy over there. Dakisa, I see you there. Dakisa, I see you with me here before the show started. You're like, hey, I want to cut. This is the show we got going in your mornings live with Keith and friends. And I also see you, the strategic veteran. I wish, Johnny Anderson, I wish I would have learned earlier than life that those around me were dragging me down just the way that they talk. Think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and real quick, you asked a question of Dr. John, which he had a great answer for.
Yeah.
Well, went a little deeper than some people may be wanting to digest. You know, what does a person do when they believe that they can't do it, they can't get up? The first simple thing you got to do is put your goddamn alarm, your phone, in another room. Because if you think you can't get up and not hit the snooze button, well, guess what? If you got to get out of bed, you're not hitting the snooze button. So put your phone in the other room.
Yeah, that true story. Dakisa, I see your comment there as well. Any advice on interpersonal relationships and new business ventures? We'll get to that, Dakisa. But right now we have Jory Jansen joining us. The GOAT, the greatest of all time. We are all here to talk about today how to starve ourselves for the rest of the week, because we just spend ourselves filling our belly. I'm joking, filling our bellies over the weekend. But Jory, a new month, a new week. Thanksgiving has ended for a lot of our listeners, and everybody's waking up this morning going, oh, I feel inflamed. Oh, I feel fat. Oh, I feel full. Let's give Business Athlete Nation some advice as we work our way towards the big holiday in about 4 weeks from now in the Christian world of Christmas. We're all going to stuff our faces again. So, Jory, how do we go from here to there over the next 30 days? And what's some advice that we can talk about with people on just how to restart their food journey? Jory.
Yeah. I think we need to rethink what feelings are.
Yeah.
Because feeling fat is not a feeling. That's a description of something else. So feelings are more of, I feel excited, I feel anxious, I feel frustrated, which is another form of anger. Yeah. So first understand what you're feeling. I think that's the first thing. Feelings are different. What are you thinking? I think that I ate too much and I've fallen off track. So I'm feeling frustrated, anxious, angry, disappointed, whatever it may be. Or maybe you're feeling proud because you went through it, you did it, you're done. Whatever. How are you feeling? What am I thinking about it? I think I did pretty good. I'm moving on. Today's a new day. Or I'm thinking that I let myself down. I let other people influence me, whatever. Maybe you're in the victim loop today. You can get out of it.
Those are real though, right? Because there's guys waking up today and they're starting their day and they're getting on the scale, like it or not, or they're looking in the mirror and they're judging themselves. Marty.
I'm going to add something to that, man. I had a couple people that hey, they enjoyed themselves for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I'm like, it's a holiday. You with your family, enjoy yourself. Stop stressing over the scale. Like, I feel fat. I got a whole bunch of I feel fats, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty much saying the reason why, we have discipline with our diet, we get in the gym, is so we can enjoy those things without feeling guilty. So I think a lot of times when people get the I feel fats or I feel bloated, it's a little bit of overthinking.
Yes.
So I'm not sure why we do that as humans, but I think, if we just focus on looking at the bigger picture and looking at the purpose, we'll have less of that I feel fat. Because I felt fat too, but I ain't stress over it.
Well, and
And
here's the
bloated
thing.
and fat are two different things too, right? So like,
I agree.
if it's a dinner or a day or a weekend, you're not fat because you had a weekend, right? So
Yes.
you're feeling uncomfortable, you're feeling disappointed.
Yeah.
Right? That's different. And now you're overthinking, which
Yep.
you just said, right? Now you're overthinking that. So what are you wanting is the third step. Yeah, you know how you're feeling. You know what you're thinking. What do you want now? What does better look like today?
Well,
Johnny?
another thing too is you got to remember is that so many people, they get into a good groove, they're making progress, and they still question their discipline to fall off track and get back on. So for many people are stressing out because they're like, oh my God, I was doing so good. I had this long weekend. Am I going to be able to get back on track? So when you practice discipline in your eating habits, it gives you the confidence to know that you can have that day or that meal or whatever it is, and then get back in the saddle. It's that and I've been there, when I was trying to manage my addiction with food. If I went off the rails, man, I was really I was under, the anxiety was intense because I really didn't have the confidence in my discipline to know that I could get back in the saddle when it was time. So think of it like this, guys, just boil it down into, work on the discipline of when you say you're going to do something, that you do it. And that's the foundation for giving yourself a little bit of a freedom with a holiday meal or a holiday weekend, and then getting back in the saddle. And when you can execute that, it takes that anxiety away, or a huge chunk of it.
That's why it's so much more about establishing all of the habits through the rest of the year, isn't it, Jory? So that when we get into a weekend like we just had, or like the next 2 weekends coming up later this month, Christmas weekend, and of course New Year's weekend, where everybody's going to experience these same things on the Mondays after that. Oh, I feel shitty, I feel crappy, I feel bloated. Well, no. If you just, I know it's oversimplifying it. If you create a series of consistent habits every single day, and then Thanksgiving shows up and you eat a bunch, don't stress about it. Could just restart on Monday again.
That, and if you do feel all these negative things, remember that. And also remember how good it felt when you were following the plan, right? You had that compass, you had your true north, you have your values of what you're following around nutrition, around health and wellness. So as much as we feel those negative, remember, that's why journaling is good. I know it's annoying, but it's really helpful. So you remember the successes. It's like when I'm working with athletes that are going off to Worlds or the Olympics or something like that. What they're doing, which is what you said, Keith, is what you're doing in advance of that is what really matters more than what you're doing at the event.
Yes.
And then it's what are you doing after that event moving forward. So in that particular moment in time, we always go back to the moment in time, that's not the deal breaker. It's what have you done leading up to it, and what are you doing right after that?
Yes.
I have a controversial comment. I'm going to throw it to all three of you because I suspect you all three have heard this, and I'm going to say something opposite of it. To somebody today who's deciding to start their workout or start their whole life-changing transformation today because of what you just did on the weekend, don't do it, right? Because they're doing it for the wrong reasons, right? Marty, Jory, Johnny, like they're getting up today going, oh, I feel shitty. I'm looking in the mirror. I got to go call Johnny, my fitness trainer. Or I got to go hire Marty, or I got to go hire Jory. Because they're what I'm believing is that they haven't taken the time to establish the good habits right now. And it's just a response to how they're feeling or what the mirror is telling them. Am I right? Don't do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's not even
when you create a lifestyle, a lifestyle that's obviously that's built around some habits, it becomes very comfortable, meaning that are familiar is a better term. And so like for people that have this lifestyle established, getting back into the familiar routine is actually something that we look forward to. Yeah. And so you just have to be there long enough. Like Keith, you hit it on the head. It's what you do all year long. If you get into a rhythm that feels good and you feel good, you're happy with the way you look, all the boxes are checked. Then when you have that weekend or that day, you're actually excited to get back into the lifestyle that makes you feel a certain way.
That's the key. I'm glad you said that. Marty, go ahead.
And when you're at that point, the pain of the pain of the comfort isn't going to be more than the pain of the growth, right? So me and Johnny just came up with that quote, but that's a direct example of it, right? It's not going to hurt you more to stay the same, you know, because after that feeling of feeling fat, like Jory said, you're probably not going to have the motivation and the discipline to work out. So it's literally what we were just talking about.
Before we let Jory go, isn't it? So one last thing I want to leave with you guys. Isn't it magical when we as a human get to the point where habits just happen? And what I mean by that is like brushing your teeth. You just brush your teeth. You just make your bed. But it's just like this morning. Like I do my Monday, Friday runs. I fucking did not want to go for a run today at all, but I just did it because that's just what I do. And even, you know, and that's when it's magical.
It wasn't because you felt fat. Well, I'm joking.
No, but Marty, but I did though. Like I kind of had a little bit of food this week, and I did kind of feel fat. But the reality was that's just what I do. So I just like, that's just what I do. I didn't even think about it. Just got on the treadmill, started running, and that's what I think and Dr. John Page talked about it too, right? Which is when you want it bad enough, things just happen. It's not even, there's no thought process going on. It just happens.
Yep.
Right. So, Jory, what do you got going on for today before we walk out of the lab here this morning?
Working with awesome people. That's what I get to do.
Oh, today. I love that. Yeah. Who's you got a big problem you're solving today for somebody?
Do I have what was that? Sorry.
Do you have a big problem you're solving today for somebody? One big problem for somebody?
I wouldn't say one big problem for somebody. It's more of kind of what we just discussed here. It's about well, I'm working with some weight class athletes, right? So it doesn't matter how healthy and how fit you are. It's a matter of being in a space where you can actually perform and compete. So that's always a challenge. It's always a challenge, but it's good. It's good. It's not new. This has been happening forever. So it's more of being a support and more of when you're in a situation, you have to kind of do an assessment. Here's the line. Are you above or below the line?
Yeah.
And when you're below the line, it's challenging. It sure is. But it's just a matter of what does better look like today.
Oh, I love that. What does better look like today? Jory's always dropping these little things in my head that I think about, right? These moments. What does better look like today? Jory Jansen, I appreciate you. I respect you. I have a lot of enjoyment having you in the lab here every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The Protein Break with Jory Jansen. You have yourself a great day.
You as well.
Thank you, Jory.
See you Wednesday, Jory.
We'll see you Wednesday, Jory. Okay, guys, let's do this. Let's bring up Flynn for the brand bites. Marty, you're gonna get out of here, right, buddy?
I gotta get out of here, man.
Get out of here, man.
I love to stay here all day, every day with you all, but I gotta go, man.
We know you would.
You go and crush him, Marty. We'll see you later, pal.
I'll see y'all, man.
All right, Johnny, go for a break. Flynn's gonna come up with a brand bite. We're gonna keep the show going here. Adam, I see your comments. Clody, I see your comments. We'll get to them in just a moment. Flinner, let's get after it.
Let's get it. All right. Today, we are going to talk about how you need to stop fighting your process. All right. Enough with the bullshit. Enough with the absolutes. For years, I fought my process. Everyone told me just start with the hardest thing first. That's how you always have to start your day. And then when I was diagnosed with ADHD at 35, I realized that was actually the worst advice for my brain. Without small, approachable wins in my day, I couldn't get started. I couldn't build momentum. I genuinely couldn't do anything. So I stopped listening to what everyone else was saying, and I started my day with small wins. And guess what? That's when everything began to click. So here's the truth. There's no foolproof method. There's no one-size-fits-all strategy, as much as the gurus would love you to believe otherwise. There's no guarantee way to build your brand or your business. The right way is your way. Your quirks, your approach, your unique fucking self. So here's your task for this week. Think through your best days. What are the best days you've had in recent memory? Write down what are the things you did that day that made you feel productive and light and creative and brought you joy. Then own that, regardless of what anyone else says. Yes, it is that simple. I have entered my no fucks era, and I promise you, if you take today's brand bite into account, you'll be one step closer to entering yours. You got this.
Oh, Kristina Flynn, the brand bite. Mornings and Alive with Keith and friends. The only morning should get your ass out of bed, get you going. I see you, Duck Issa. I appreciate you hanging around. Dude, I appreciate you hanging around. You joined me in the pre-show. You stumbled on, so like, hey, what's this good dad doing? I did my glasses on. I was doing the old pre-show stuff. I'm like, yeah, hey. Duck Issa from Ontario, subscribe to the channel. This is what we do, man. Every single day, Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. A little bit of old school morning show right here on YouTube and LinkedIn. Conversations to get you going. Conversations not to hit the snooze button. Over there's John Andersen. The guy's lifted a few things in his lifetime. Yeah, true story, and put them down. And the guy's been on stage and flexed the tricep, just one of them. But not two, just one tricep once. And then he flexed his butt cheek out there too. And the guy might have wrestled a few guys. He might have wrestled some guy in Korea. So for those of you guys joining for the first time, Johnny Anderson's over there. Kristina Flynn, she's over there. Oh, yeah. She's the brand person. She hangs out with us every couple days here. I joke aside. Flynn's with us all the time here. She helps me write the show, producer of the show. She's over there in Ontario for Duck Issa. She might just be down the road from you, Duck Issa, I'm thinking. So just, if you go knock on that person's door next to you, it might be Kristina Flynn. Yeah, true story. Yeah.
Probability says yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Rick Claudius.
Brother, real quick, if you're going to include Korea, you got to make sure you include North Korea.
Why, yes. So let's go there.
The big difference.
Not a lot of human beings have been to North Korea here in North America. I think Johnny hung out in Dennis Rodman's pocket when they flew over there, North Korea, and he's like, and then he fucking pinned Rodman. He's like, I'm over here first. But anyway, so Johnny Anderson's over in North Korea. So those of you that are new to our channel, I welcome you guys to Mornings Alive with Keith and friends. Adam, I see you. Positivity is infectious. Yes, it is. And I also see that we got Rick Clody following your plan, gets that furnace burning hot so you can burn through some junk on a holiday occasion. And to those of you that crushed some major food over the weekend, today's the day where we give you permission to say, okay, crush some food.
It's okay.
Just crush food.
Back on it.
It's fine. Tomorrow's going to be here tomorrow. The next day going to be here tomorrow. Because, nation, in a month from now, you're going to crush food again. So if you're going to beat yourself up about it, you know, you might want to invite yourself to be doing something a little bit different today here. So, Adam, we'll see you later, bro. I'm off. My work break is over. Have fun, guys. I appreciate you joining us every single day here, Adam. Mornings and Live with Keith and friends. Dr. John Page is joining us for the first hour. We got John Dugan there in the green room there hanging out waiting for us. I see him there. Him and his beautiful wife staring at the camera. I see them there just saying hello. They're going to join us here in a few moments here for the Creator Spotlight Community Corner. But let's do this. Let's dig into today's topic about how I transformed my mornings. Now, Johnny Andersen, we got a fun little clip, man, that I think you're going to love. I think you're going to love it, man. It's less than a 2-minute clip, and it's done in this
I'm glad it's a 2-minute clip, because those 6-minute clips were wearing me out, baby.
Yeah, you and me both, brother. You and me both. I'm with you there. Yeah. So we're keeping them shorter. So this 2-minute clip, Johnny, I think you're going to love it. It's done in this exceptionally modern videography. It's going to take you to a real future world. I think it's going to
have a gander, man. You got me all fired up. Let's have a gander.
It's thought provoking. It's going to move the needle. You're just going to love the whole thing here. So Jimmy, producer Jimmy, let's get this going here. Let's get this 2-minute clip running here. And it's called The Choice. And I think you're all going to really enjoy this video we're going to run here on this choice. And it's well, let's quiet the silence and turn it on the screen here for us here. Let's do this here. Jimmy, I got to go in here, bro. Let's do it. Check this out. As you can see here, this gentleman's waking up every single day. He's got a choice every single day. And as you'll see here, every single choice you make will ultimately shape your life. Check it out. Keep going here. So we see the guy sitting to his left.
So simple and so good.
So simple. And as the music speeds up, we can get a sense of what's happening here. The reality is, his simple daily choices are adding up to some very simple, repetitive successes. All right, so I'm going to stop that there, Jimmy, Flynn, Anderson. Let's keep the chat going. So we ran that video, and I ran that video on a very simple purpose, that it shows you how boring daily simple choices can be and should be, yet leading to significant daily successes. Johnny, as you were watching that, The Choice, there's two men. One guy's making consistent choices over here, and one man is making consistent choices over here. John Anderson, what did you take out of that video when you watched it?
Well, I think that the first thing that comes to mind is that when people think about, doing stuff on a daily basis, they go, oh my God. But if you boil it down to what you need to do today, if you stop looking at the finish line can be really distracting. What do you need to do today to have a good day today? And if you keep it simple like that, at the end of the day, do you want to feel tired and you want to feel like crap, or at the end of the day, you want to feel good? And so I think it's, people tend to get a little bit too overwhelmed by having repetitive daily habits, but the repetitive daily habits don't have to be this back-breaking scenario. They can be simple and easy. Work over time is what this whole thing is all about.
Well, and that's exactly what it is. And John, that's what really reflects upon what I was trying to get at with Jory over the weekend here, is that if you went into the weekend doing those simple habits and then you got yourself into a spot over the weekend where you got out of your habit, well, what happens when the loop starts on Monday again? You just go back to those habits again, right, Johnny? You go back to them again. There's no programming. It's just what you do, brushing your teeth again.
Yeah, and that whole thing of, we all have a few habits. We all have. If you're not brushing your teeth, you need to straighten your shit out. If you're brushing your teeth, then put a few more simple ones, right? Instead of taking 3 minutes to brush your teeth, now you're going to take 10 minutes to brush your teeth and go for a 7-minute walk. And you just keep stacking up these little, simple, easy, executable wins. And next thing you know, you've created a rhythm that feels good. And when you veer from that rhythm, you can't wait to get back. And now you've kind of changed your outlook. And most people don't know how bad they feel till they feel good. And it doesn't take much every day to get yourself feeling good.
Most people don't know how good they feel. Yeah, say that again.
Most people don't know how bad they feel until they finally feel good.
Oh yeah. And how do you know until you get there, right? That's what's fascinating to me. Is how do you know until you get there?
And it doesn't take much to make that pivot to go, holy shit. And then keep in mind, most times when people start to feel a little better, there's actually a lot more better to come. They've just got the first taste of just getting to the other side of the fence.
Yeah. Flynn, when you watch that video, what'd you take from it?
I love that video because for me, it's the day looking at something as like just this daily loop. It's really helpful for me to look at things in a trajectory, a longer timeline, to see why that death clock works for me. it just works. And I was talking about it in today's brand bite. Like, you need to find what works for you. If I think about this as just a daily exercise, I'm just so focused on today. I need to almost sometimes smack myself in the face and say, like, this is the result of today's decisions. This is the result of today's choices. And when you're at a point where you're not quite programmed with all of those small habits yet, sometimes you need more dramatic things to show you perspective. And the perspective is, this is where this is going, bro. If you keep up with it, you're not going to be happy with it. So what do you want?
Well, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. So there you go, guys. Those daily choices you make on a daily, daily are generally going to predetermine how the rest of your life is going to go. Very simple statement, but it's so true.
Well, and real quick, one more thing on that is that we're in this world now where when you do, the majority of people unfortunately don't have these little habits, so it becomes normal not to have them. And then you're surrounded by people who say, "Oh, what are you doing? You do that?" And when it comes down to it, if we had more people that were taking care of themselves, then it would be the people that weren't taking care of themselves that would be alienated, so to speak. But right now, it's basically, and sometimes even comes within. You have family members. Well, why are you doing that? Well, I want to feel better. Well, they don't like that because they think you're leaving them. They think that you're, changing your course of life and that you're going to leave them behind. When in actuality, you're not leaving anybody behind. You just want a better life for yourself.
Well,
That judgment is strong.
What you said there is, I think one of the biggest reasons that holds people back, Johnny, is that I want to make a change, but maybe my partner doesn't. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think that holds a lot of folks back because we don't know how to get the partner aligned up with our own change. Yeah, but honey, I don't want to have pizza this Friday. But honey, we've been having pizza for the last 20 years on Fridays. No, but I really want to change towards some broccoli or some chicken. Johnny, talk about that for a second. How do you get, because we know that couples who win together are also couples who lose together. Right. So making change and bringing somebody along for the ride with us is a big, big ask of our partner, Johnny.
Well, and I deal with that all the time. Husbands will come to me and they want their wives to be involved, but their wives keep in mind, most people have become very frustrated with trying and not getting the result they're looking for.
Yeah.
And so I always say to the husband, look, let's not try to force her to do anything. Let's just let her see what you're getting. You're going to invest X and you're going to get back X plus. She's going to want to start to make that trade with you. And when she wants to do it, then we'll get her cracking, but when you try to force someone to do something, it's usually not going to be a good outcome, and it's not just with food. Like when I work with people on mental grooming and I get them seeing things differently, all of a sudden the people around them start to the people they didn't even realize, but the people around them are kind of going against the positive programming that we're reprogramming all those limited beliefs. And pretty soon and I have to warn them. I say, look, you got to be ready. You're going to have people around you that are going to just look different all of a sudden. And you just have to realize that's just part of the equation. And when they come and they stand against you, just realize they just don't understand. So don't judge them, just focus on yourself and realize that's going to be part of the equation of you changing for the better. And it's a tough thing for sure. But I think when it comes down to it, we all need some sort of a leader. So maybe that husband that's saying, and it happens to be all the time, I'll get a husband cracking. Next thing you know, the kids are doing better. The wife's doing better. It's like a positive cancer that spreads through people or families. And it's a wonderful thing if it's just, I guess there's one person that's open-minded enough to realize that it's only difficult because the people around them have been telling them it's difficult.
Well, I think too, and sometimes that individual, we need to make space for that person too, right?
Yes.
Like we know statistically women take on a majority of household tasks. So if you are an individual who is married to a woman, you need to take a look at that and say, okay, well, if I'm creating space for myself, am I also creating the space for my partner to be able to dedicate this time for this as well? And sometimes that's what needs to happen.
Yeah, true story. Absolutely true story. Hey, listen, you're hanging out with Keith Bilous, John Andersen, Kristina Flynn. Yeah, true story.
Christina.
With a K. Kristina with a K, not with a C, with a K.
No.
He was hitting the brakes on C. Marty Fit is what he was doing.
He
You're
was.
absolutely right.
He did,
Yeah,
well. He did a decent job.
I was going. You're right, Johnny. I was going through my natural cadence. I'm like, oh,
I can see it. Well, you hit the brakes just in time, brother. Just in time.
Speaking of breaks, we're here talking morning transformations, how to get your morning going. I got a little extra caveat to throw on the table this morning, nation. And that caveat is one of the best ways you can start your morning, and one of the surprising mental, physical benefits of starting your morning sex. True story. One of the ways that you can absolutely transform your morning is starting with morning sex. And it's probably going to be even better than sleeping in. Before we wrap up with Johnny here and bring in the community corner with Jack Dugan in a number of minutes, I want to throw a few things on the table right now about the benefits of morning sex. Johnny Andersen, Kristina Flynn. Number one, it reduces stress, helping you start off the day on the right foot. Imagine just not only getting to the gym and releasing this dopamine and all those emotions that come from going to the gym, but rolling over and having some morning sex with your partner. And we're not here, we're not looking for that 20, 30, 40, 1 hour marathon session. Maybe just some quick intimacy first thing in the morning. Johnny, Flynn, reducing stress, helping you start off the day on the right foot. Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, if someone or a couple are able to, execute that's a huge, there's so many things that happen with that. Little blood flow, cascade of positive chemicals from the brain, for sure. That's a good one. Obviously, in most, especially in America, I know everybody wakes up late. So they're always in a rush. And think about it like that. The snooze button is 9 minutes. You could basically hit the snooze, roll over, and rock and roll for 9 minutes, or maybe according to the statistics, 5, and you'll be ready to go before the thing goes off again.
You know what, Johnny? We've just discovered, you've just nailed it, man. We actually have a product within a product on our show now. Hit the snooze button with the morning wood. Go nail your partner and get your day started all within less than 9 minutes, because you're right, Andersen. And we've learned that it takes less than 9 minutes for men to get action anyways. So dudes, you can be so freaking productive first thing in the morning, because Flynn, having morning sex helps with creativity and productivity, reduces stress and cortisol levels.
Well, especially if you wake up with the morning wood, then you have got to work it up to par. You can just go right to work.
Yeah. Flynn, it can be.
I don't get morning wood, so I can't comment on that one.
It can be easier to get aroused. There are tons of hormonal, medical, and mood-related reasons somebody might struggle to feel aroused physiologically. However, as we wake up in the morning, and get close to our partner and roll over and get intimate, it might be easier to be aroused first thing in the morning, which then in turn makes the experience more enjoyable, exciting, and comfortable, especially knowing you're doing it before the day gets started, before the kids get started. You roll over, look at your partner, and the day is rolling. You're aroused and you're happy. Flynn.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. That's not happening in my world anytime soon. Like, number one, I don't have a door on my room. There's where I'm at. We're in this weird loft thing. So there's no door. Number two, that would mean we're having to get up at like 4:45 to do that. And I'm just getting to the point where I'm a morning person. I don't think I can convince all of us to get there at the same time. So we got to keep it to the evening.
And the lesson there is just to get it in when you can get it in. Just
get it in when you can get it in. And if you're waiting for a perfect moment, just stop, because there is no perfect, especially when you have young kids, but at any time you can't. John, I am always in awe of your actual time blocking related to Terry time to be able to make sure that you get it done. And I think that's the way that, listen, scheduling might sound boring, but what's more boring, not having sex or having sex?
Yeah. And it comes down to that's part of the reason why, I get up and I do so much early in the day, because by the time 5 o'clock comes, I've that's where I'm starting to disengage, so to speak, in terms of business. And that's where I turn the corner into my relationship. And it's just like it's a rhythm.
When did Terry time start in your relationship? Like, how many years have you been at Terry time?
We've had many variations of Terry time. But when I really started, when I really started getting serious about my business goals, I mean, I've always had business goals, but when I stopped being a competitive bodybuilder, you know, I'm still considered a pro, but I'm non-competitive, and that's when I kind of started competing in business. And so that's when it came down to, you actually discussed it a few weeks back. You know, you get so focused, and her term is I go underwater. You know, it's like I'm there, but I'm not there. And so when she pointed that out to me, I was like, okay, I need to be intentional about being there with her. So the scheduling of her is like at 5 o'clock is more in the last handful of years, because I need to make sure that if I'm doing what I'm doing full bore, you know, if I go underwater for the day, so to speak, I got to come back up for her. And that was really the remedy that I put together to make sure that she didn't feel exiled or alone, much like you talked about with your wife not too long ago.
Do you think, because it's fair to say, if you didn't come up for air in that moment, you could keep going?
Oh yeah, and that's
right?
100%. And there was a period where she was like, "Honey, I'm fucking lonely," you know. And I was like, "Okay," you know. And unfortunately, it took me a few times to hear that before it really made all the type of sense that made it. But I needed to make a change, and you know, scheduling is a strong suit for me. So that way I never fuck it up.
We're going to get into transforming relationships this Thursday, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. We're going to talk more about how to transform your relationship and some things that I've done and Johnny's done and so forth. But we are going to wrap up our chat here right now about a good way to transform your morning is to start your morning with morning sex. And just some quick other tidbits to give you guys to think about, which is morning sex is a good way to prioritize sex. As life gets busy, the schedule happens, the kids happen, our wife's commitments happen, our husband's commitments happen. Life happens, energy levels happen. What we may want to consider is finding a way to have that morning sex, right? And also, it can help you move throughout the day. You know, although there isn't extensive evidence on this, some studies have shown that sex and orgasms can help lessen physical pain. So it might be something you might want to consider. And it serves as a morning workout and gives you energy. You know, you get those, you know, everything released out of your brain and out of your body, and it gives you some energy and gets going. I think for me, though, what I most enjoy about morning sex, I think it helps wonderfully with intimacy and connection. There's nothing like starting the day with a very intimate, connecting moment to get on with the rest of the day. Because you guys have heard me talk about this often, Johnny Flynn. If I just go to the gym in the morning and I achieve nothing else for the rest of the day, at least I can go look in the mirror and know I've taken care of my human being, my Keith Bilous. Right? So if I ended up at the doctor later today, I'm like, oh, but I took care of my human. So if I go have sex with my partner first thing in the morning and then get to the gym, I feel like I'm ahead of life. Because I'm like, okay,
it can't count as your gym session. Is that what you're saying?
Oh shit, no, they're absolutely different. Oh yeah, so it can count, but not for me. No, you got to do both. Hey, Dakisa, I've got a question. I'm sorry, Dakisa.
Hey brother, sorry to interrupt, but I have to jump like right at 6:30, just so you know. We're right coming up on the line here.
Right now.
Anderson's got to fly. You getting out here, Anderson? You go get after, brother.
Love you, Johnny. Have a good day.
I got a phone call I got to make at 6:30, and it's right now.
You go, Anderson. We'll see you tomorrow, brother.
You got it. Have a great day, guys. Have a good loop, guys. Let's go.
All right. Cool. We got Dakisa with a question for Flynn here, which is, my wife and I live in a small house, and soon our bed will be in the living room with a curtain. Any advice? Ooh.
Well, I mean, is that for sex? I'm not sure. And do you have children? There's so many questions there, Dakisa, that I'm not sure I can give a helpful answer to you without knowing more information.
Yeah, I think what you want to do is you want to have the children out of the house when the other activities happen.
It's just the easier way to do it for me and my wife. It's like I can't be bothered to think about that in that moment. So let's just not even have that possibility of like get the kids out when they're at my parents' house. They're not. Yeah, you have kids, exactly. So you know what to do. Get them out of the house.
There you go. All right. So Flynn, I think at this point we are going to do this. Let's see here. I got a little bit of my little music here. Hey, Dugan, you've been patiently waiting for us as the show's
working hard in the background,
as
making
the show,
sure everything works.
As the show's been just going on here, and Dugan was waiting for us, hanging out here and so forth. Jimmy, let's get John onto the stage here. Let's welcome him to Community Corner. There he is. There's Dugan. Got your audio working there, brother? There we go.
There we go.
Morning, guys. How we doing?
Jack Dugan, otherwise known as Sean Dugan. Yes. We have the man of the hour on the show here with us this morning. Jack Dugan, John Dugan, joining us from the sunny province of North Carolina, Canada. Johnny, am I correct with that? We're having some technical difficulties with Dugan here. While we do that, while we're getting Dugan's technical situation sorted out here. How's it going in North Carolina today, Dugan?
Oh, we're on a big delay.
Yeah, it's nice and chilly. We had some ice on the ground and on the windshields, and it's good to be getting a little bit cooler as it does get really warm here in the summer. So I'm liking it.
Nice. So let's do this. Let's introduce John Dugan here in his transformation journey here. I got the gamma up on screen here, Jimmy here. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about Jack Dugan. John Dugan. Is it John or is it Jack? Let's introduce Business Athlete Nation to you, Johnny. Oh, we got a big delay on Jack. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pull Jack off stage here, Jimmy. We're gonna pull Jack off here. We have a big delay here. We're having some technical difficulty with Jack here. So while we're sorting that out, I'm gonna get on the gamma here and going to spend a couple minutes introducing John. So John, as you guys know, as I talked to you, he's an inside sales coordinator at Universal Trust. He's a dad and a husband who lost 48 pounds using simple daily habits here. What's the secret to John's success? No fancy diets. No. Just avoided gimmicks and complex meal plans. He showed up every single day for mornings in the lab and applied one daily idea. Just showed up. Yeah, was walking, hanging out with us, making right choices, using the inspiration and the ideas we're throwing on the table to move things forward. The power of consistency, tuning in, taking notes, and applying those consistent habits on a daily basis. The results, 48 pounds lost. You can find John on LinkedIn to be inspired by his fitness journey. That's our friend Jack Dugan here this morning on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends here. And I think we lost Johnny. Am I correct there, Flynn?
We seem to have lost John. Yes.
We seem to have lost Dugan on
lost John, unfortunately. He's been struggling in the background. He keeps getting kicked out. Not sure what's going on technically on his end, but I feel for him because he's been in the back about 45 minutes trying to make sure it all goes swimmingly. I saw the worst.
The good news is, Dugan, is that we're not going anywhere. So if it ain't going to work out for you today, we'll you can go hang out with Alex Sheeling, our friend in London, to figure out why it's not working for him either. So it doesn't work for everybody. But listen, why don't we, while we know Jack is figuring that out, and I know that Jack, let's try this again here. Let's see if Jack, you still there, brother? Nope. Nope. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We know that Jack did nominate somebody for the Creator Spotlight today.
That's right.
We did, and we do have that person's name. And I think what we're gonna do here, Jimmy, is we're gonna find that person and we're gonna bring him up on screen here, and I'm going to do the presentation on our Creator Spotlight this morning. Let's see here. That's that sound effect I like to bring up on screen whenever I'm pausing, which is a do sound effect. So, all right, Jimmy, Flynn, we have somebody here who I am going to pull up on screen here. I'm just looking at my notes here. Yes. Okay, cool. All right. So today, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends, on behalf of our friend John, aka Jack Dugan, has somebody they've celebrated for Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends, the Creator Spotlight. It is somebody with a value-driven, agile leadership approach, a certified safe agilist scrum master, release train engineer, who leads with a human-centered approach, championing diversity and guiding agile teams to success. This morning, we are going to take the big old Mornings in the Lab spotlight, Jimmy Flynn, and we are going to shine it on Laura Jennings. So, Laura, Jack Dugan decided to nominate you this morning because he said, hey, there's somebody in my orbit who I think deserves to be celebrated for the Creator Spotlight. So today we are going to celebrate Laura Jennings for the Creator Spotlight. Professional expertise, agile mastery. She's a certified safe 6 RTE and SPC Agile Certified Professional Facilitator. Not really sure what that means, but I'm sure it means a lot. Leadership focus. She holds a degree in leadership psychology and is a certified business process manager. I know what that means, Laura. It means you're pretty damn smart. Oh, yeah. And she has a current role who leads an agile release train at Softrams, developing solutions for CMS. Hey, Flynn, do you think when she's like an agile release train, like she drives like a train? Like,
oh my.
No, that's not what it is.
Laura, please apologize for this man. Please, I shall apologize for this man, I should say.
Hey, we are, listen, Laura.
Listen, this is just Keith. I am what I am.
We are all about taking boring business conversation and making it entertaining. So if folks want to think that you're a train caboose driver, then that's a good thing. Career highlights.
Like trains.
Career highlights. Laura, Softrams, leading agile release train, supporting teams in modern scalable architecture development. The USAA successfully led the bank incident management team to adopt business agility. And of course, United Healthcare served as a senior member advocate, developing frontline representatives in Medicare Advantage plan sales. She has a leadership philosophy about servant leadership. She views servant leadership as an honor and a privilege, not just a role. She emphasizes human connection, and she's all about positive impact, breathing positivity into every room and champions diversity and inclusion. Beyond the workplace, personal trainer, cycle instructor, and nutritionist. Laura's unique value prop, focusing on deliver consistent incremental value, human-centered, and an agile expert. And listen, you can connect with Laura on LinkedIn through Jack Dugan or over on Laura's LinkedIn page. Anything I missed? Kristina Flynn on Laura Jennings, who we are celebrating here today, Mornings on Lab Keeping Friends.
I think it's obvious that Laura is incredibly smart. What I love is that she... on LinkedIn, there's a space where you can kind of put whether it's like a form or last name, or I think some folks include their pronouns there. And she puts tatted leader, which I love, just like owning her tattoos. You can tell she's got like a really beautiful personality. And a lot of that, even, you can't fake that when it shines in your words and it shines in a LinkedIn profile. You're like, oh my God, obviously this person has a lot of personality, because you can't fake that on LinkedIn. You absolutely cannot. And I just love, she has a real energy and a vibe. She's obviously a BAPL. She's all about business, but all about personal training. She's a cycle instructor. She's a nutritionist. I think she brings a ton to the table. And I think I'm really glad that John Dugan brought her across our desk, because I think she's the perfect person to highlight.
So Laura Jennings, how this works. Jack Dugan celebrated you. We celebrated you. And we'd love to have you in the lab, because I suspect, Flynn suspects, Johnny Anderson, C. Marty Fitz suspect there's probably somebody in your orbit that you want to celebrate. So love to have you here in the lab. Take the big old light, shine it on somebody, and shine the light on the Creator Spotlight for Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. That's what we're going to do. So Dugan, I'm sorry it didn't work out. We're going to get you back here, get your technology sorted out. And we'll get you back here on the show. I see you, Dr. John Page here. Randy DeVore, thanks for tuning in today. I appreciate the comments. Strategic veteran, tech dad, everybody who joined us for the show today. It was. I think
strategic veteran is someone that we spotlighted last week in Creator Spotlight as well. I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it is.
Oh, is that Adam Peters?
I think so. Yeah, I think it is.
Oh, Adam Peters is joining us. I think Adam Peters is coming up later on the show this week.
Yeah, super cool. I love seeing that work its way. Like you are introduced to somebody like a Laura Jennings, and then we bring them on the show to highlight someone, and then they become a part of the orbit, which is really, really fucking special. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Can't wait for Friday. Okay, we got him.
Okay, so listen, we're gonna wrap the show up here. It's been an interesting show here today on a Monday of the loop, the re-loop here, a brand new month. Just wrapped up Thanksgiving weekend. Everybody's kind of showing up today, going, "Oh, I feel kind of this." It's Cyber Monday today, Flynn, isn't it? Cyber Monday, is that what it is?
Yeah, I wrote a post about this last week. Listen, you're gonna get a lot of feelings throughout the day where you're like, "I need that, I need that, I need that." Just take a second to make sure that that thing that you really need is actually solving a problem for you. And that problem needs to be solved immediately, because it's so easy to get blinded by this deal and that deal. And like, it's human nature. There's a reason why it works. You might not need it. Take a second before you purchase, and maybe put that money towards something else. Maybe put that money towards an experience with your partner. Maybe put that money towards a holiday. And yeah, is it going to give you immediate gratification? No. But there's a lot of people out there today trying to sell you a lot of things, and they have been all weekend. Just know that whatever you think that happiness is going to bring from buying that thing, it's not there. That is external. The happiness you're seeking is inside. So maybe save your money and go searching there.
There's your tip. Save your money. Don't spend it there. Adam Peters, I see you there in the comments. Yes, sir. Can't wait for Friday. Neither can we, Adam. 4 more sleeps, Adam, until your appearance on morning.
Sleep. That's so cute.
4 more sleeps, Adam, until Friday morning. You get to hang out with us on Mornings in Live with Keith and Friends. But Adam, you should come in tomorrow and Wednesday. Just tune into the show every single day, because this is what we do. So if you tune in today, you'll come back tomorrow and come back on Wednesday and tell your friends and so forth. Subscribe to the channel.
We had good people in the comments today.
A lot of great comments today. Added some subscribers today, and hey, before the show starts, I've been doing this pre-show. So 3 and a wake up. Yes, strategic veteran Adam. Listen, we know that the mornings start with the night before. So on Thursday night, it's important to get to bed early, Adam. Yeah, get to bed early, get your clothes set out, get your food set out, get your protein shake ready, so that when the morning comes, you just fucking rock and roll, man. Just get into the lab and go, just like that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, listen, we're going to get out of here. Flynn's going to get out of here. Bill's going to get out of here. Thank you to those that subscribed to the channel today. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, we go live here, Mornings Live with Keith and Friends. But I've been kind of jumping in here before the show for a kind of a pre-show warm-up. So if you want to know what goes on behind the scenes, subscribe to the channel. And you never know when the old alert pops up, and you might say, hey, there's Bilous doing his thing. So yeah, true story.
You get to watch Bilous doing a lot of do.
Exactly. Yes. This morning there was a lot of doing happening.
There was a lot of do doing this morning.
Yeah, there was. Yeah. But I did get
tomorrow we're going into how to transform your life. Today we looked at how to transform your mornings. We're looking at how to transform your life.
That's it. So tomorrow you'll find us here. Mornings Live with Keith and Friends. Myself, Flynn, Marty, Johnny. Who's tomorrow? Adam House is tomorrow. Carrie Lynn Shaw's doing us tomorrow as well. So Carrie, Adam Peters, get some rest. Adam, get lots of rest for your big Friday appearance. All right. Jimmy, let's get out of here. Let's go to work. Flynn, let's get out of here. Let's go to work. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Mornings in the Live, 8 o'clock Eastern time, right here on YouTube, LinkedIn, X. Come back to YouTube. See you guys tomorrow. Ciao.